Hey, look who it is! Joey Leds, back for another cigar review. Yeah, that's right, and this is the second time I have had to record this whole review, because I recorded it earlier in the night when it was still dark and the lighting sucked, so I set up my painting lights, only one set of them, and it just happened that right when I was in the middle of the interview, or review, the fucking bulb burned out, of course. And so the lighting sucked. It made me look like an Oompa Loompa because my lamps, it made it look orange for some reason. I don't know, it didn't work out, so even though it was a good review, I'm like, fuck, I just need to wait till the sun comes up. It's currently 7:08 a.m. and the sun's still coming up, but there's tons of snow on the ground because we got 2 feet of snow. So the sun, whatever sun's out there, is bouncing off the snow, and it's enough. Might not look fully lit, but hopefully it looks decent enough. I looked beforehand, and it looked like it would work okay. You probably noticed I have a Band-Aid on. I typically don't cut myself often, despite working in a kitchen for a job and always chopping things up. I never cut myself. And at like 4 a.m. I got extremely hungry, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna have some leftovers. So, I didn't even cut it in a cool way. Like when I do cut myself, I can't even cut myself in a cool way. Guess how I cut myself? I got this cut by cutting turkey. I had a turkey, I was cutting some pieces off it, and I cut myself. Like, that's such a lame way to cut yourself. And that sucked too because it scraped sideways, so it just cut a big chunk of skin. It didn't go deep, and it kept like bleeding, so I had to hold it there, and it sucked. So while I was doing that, the whole time I'm like, I want to eat, and I couldn't eat because it kept bleeding. Eventually it stopped and I had my turkey, but like, that's such a lame way to cut yourself. Anyways, I digress like fuck. Yeah, today we are reviewing Backwoods Honey. I told you guys I'd ordered a bunch of cigars on FamousSmoke.com. By the way, my favorite site to order cigars, Famous Smoke Shop. It's famous-smoke.com. If you ever want to get, a pretty good selection, good prices, fast shipping, FamousSmoke.com. That shit, been ordering from them since December 2009. Anyways, yeah. So, I don't know, I smoked most of the cigars, I'm not gonna lie, but I have these to review, and then I have one more special cigar to do a review on, which I'm waiting on. Because I know you don't know what I'm talking about now, but it is a different kind of cigar review for me, so I'm still kind of figuring out how the hell I'm going to do it. Before I get my list out, huh? I still have all my lists right here. I'm surprised when I took my break that I didn't lose them. I'm kind of surprised that I haven't just taken them and typed them on in a text file on the computer yet, but for whatever the fuck reason, I haven't. Presentation's nice. It's pretty much exactly the same as the honeyberry. It has, the little honeycomb beehive stuff, for honey, of course. Except on the honeyberry, it's purple. On here, it is yeller. Yeller. It's yeller. So the presentation looks pretty nice. Obviously, you have all this. And then on the back, as always, you have the nice little paragraph, which, as always, it's kind of my thing to read it out loud. Years ago, when a man wanted a good cigar, he'd roll his own. Those cigars didn't look that refined, but they sure tasted mild and smelled good. Now you can enjoy the same kind of smoke with Backwoods. We take all natural filler tobacco, which is selected for mildness. Then we roll it in gentle tasting broadleaf, a dark tobacco that is aged for at least 12 months to bring out its naturally sweet taste and pleasing aroma. We make them like they used to. Backwoods Honey Wild and Mild Cigars, made in the Dominion Republic, product guarantee P.O. Box 407130, Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33407130. More information than you needed, but too fucking bad! Alright, time for the scent. This is gonna, sound so obvious. Oh, Captain Obvious, ahoy. But it's really the best description of the smell. It smells just like the Backwoods Honeyberry, without the berry. Just kind of obvious, but that's the best smell. Very sweet, but not too sweet. scent. You know, it's like it's sweet but not too sweet. Sweet but smooth. You know what I mean? I already smoked 2 packs out of that, so this is the 3rd pack. I just opened it beforehand, so we have 5 cigars in here. Yeah, this looks like a good one. I don't know if I pointed this out before, but I'm gonna point it out again in case I haven't. You know, they have the little pull thing, and it has a piece of like floss. It's like dental floss. I don't know what to call it, string. And so normally people would tear it open, and it, you know, but it always like comes out all, you know, really uneven, and I don't like it. I have OCD. I'm a neat freak. So what I do is I take my little pair of scissors from my Swiss Army knife here, and I, you know, very simply just cut it and open it and pull that string out, and it's nice and even that way. So that's how you do it. It's how I do it! Don't make... Let's light this cunt up. Bitch up, sorry. I meant bitch. Oh, so beautiful. So obviously I'm going to use a comparison to the honeyberry for these. The flavor is a lot less sweet. Like I said, Captain Obvious ahoy once more. It tastes like the honeyberry without the berry, and because of that it's less sweet. It's not, it's still sweet, but it's less sweet. It's a little more mild, a little more, you know, smoother. So it has a nice taste, and that applies also to the flavoring on the tip here. Less sweet. So if the honeyberry is a little too sweet for you, but you did like them, but just a little maybe too sweet, maybe give these a shot, because they are a little bit less. So, but a nice flavor overall. Again, comparison, Backwoods honeyberry without the berry. You know, I don't know of any other cigars that make a honey flavored. Maybe they're out there, but I know like the, you know, the Black and Milds, and I'm pretty sure Swisher Sweets and all those kind of cigars don't. So I find all the Backwoods flavors pretty much have the same strength to them. The originals maybe a little bit stronger, but not too much more. All the fruit and sweetie flavors of them, they all pretty much taste, you know, have the same strength to them. So a little bit stronger than like Black and Milds are, not as strong as big cigars are. So maybe not for like beginners. For beginners, I'd recommend probably Black and Milds, and then graduate onto these eventually. But not too strong. If you're a cigar smoker, these will be nothing to you. You know, I told you this is the 2nd time I recorded this review. First time I recorded it, I happened to pick a bad one. That's the thing with these Backwoods. Ever since they switched to the 5-packs, it's kind of a 50-50 shot. Increasingly so when you go to light one. And the first one I had just had a terrible, it was just barely any smoke out of it. Because too much air was getting in, there was too much resistance. Luckily this one's good. So when you get a good one, it's usually a really good amount of smoke, pretty thick smoke for Backwoods. You know, it kind of sticks. So try to air out wherever you're hanging out. If you get a bad one, it's just going to be like any other cigar with too much resistance. You're just not going to get much smoke. And it's not going to be worth noting, really. And all this 50-50 shot stuff really carries on to the rest of the review, because it's all about the structure in the wrapper when you think about it. Because either it's packed too shittily and loose, and there's going to be too much air getting in, not enough resistance, or it's going to be packed too tightly and there'll be way too much resistance. So it really carries on to the rest of the review, so I'm going to be mentioning that 50-50 shot for pretty much the rest of it, but what are you going to do? You got to be honest. And then a lot of times also, which will give it not enough resistances, a lot of times they'll have a hole or a couple holes in the wrapper, so obviously that's a problem too. You know, if it's just that and the rest of it's okay, you can usually cover them up, but it's still, you shouldn't even have to. It's just a real shame that the quality's gone downhill. It upsets me. I had my first Backwoods cigar when I was 9 years old. Because my Uncle Tommy's always been the cool kind of uncle, and he's a truck driver, and when I was little I would always go over the road with him in the big 18-wheeler for 5 or 6 days at a time. It was one of the big trucks that had a sleeper in it with the bed, and then he had a TV and microwave and mini fridge and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool, and I loved the hell out of it. We'd go all over New England and, you know, New York and Ohio and all those kind of places. It was really cool, and one time when I was over the road with him, he let me try a cigar for the first time. Of course, back then I didn't inhale. I was 9, and it's not like he gave them to me constantly. He gave me one, and then, you know, I think that's kind of the reason I started to get into these when I got into cigar smoking when I was older. I just wanted to give kind of a backstory because I like to digress and go off on tangents. I'm sorry, that's just me. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. Fuck, fuck, fuck! Giving me shit for doing shit and fucking shit! If you get a good one, they light up just fine. I'll show you. Hold on. It's gonna happen right here in front of you. Right here, right now. Yeah! Watch. It's magic. Okay, I probably should, yeah, fuck that. It's just that easy. But if you get a bad one, it's gonna suck and you're gonna get pissed and it's just not, it's not even gonna be worth it. When you get a bad one of these, it's usually so bad that it's not even smokable. It's like, oh, this is a shitty one, put it out. Think of all these bad ones on the packages. And lastability. They last longer than like a Black and Mild does. They last a pretty good amount of time. They might not last as long as, maybe like a White Owl does, and definitely not as long as like a actual real big cigar. When I talk about when I'm doing these reviews, I typically compare with other gas station cigars, not talking about other stuff like Rocky Patel and what have you. Yeah, they usually last a good amount of time. For me, it always ranges. Sometimes I smoke faster than I don't or do. I typically smoke fast when I'm all hyper and energized and hyped up on caffeine, Mountain Dew, which I wish I had right now. I would say anywhere from 15 to like 25 minutes, give or take. You never know. Sometimes, it depends. It's going to be different for everybody. And I always say everything has an aftertaste. Anything you're smoking has an aftertaste, whether it be a big-ass Cuban cigar or Marlboro Light cigarettes. Everything leaves a little bit of an aftertaste. It is smoke after all. So everything really does. And I've never really had an aftertaste from smoking something, cigars, cigarettes, whatever it be. That was really that bad. Sometimes they're bitter, sometimes they're sweet. With these, you just get a little something. It can be a little bit bitter sometimes, but it's not terrible. I mean, if you're a smoker, you're used to it anyways and probably don't even notice. I typically don't anymore. So yeah. So, when you get a good one of these, they're really great cigars. But when you get a shitty one, not so much. So sadly, I'm going to have to give these a 6 out of 10. Because I want to be fair. I don't want to just review the cigar I'm smoking right now. I want to review this brand, this Backwoods Honey as a whole. My whole experience as of all the ones I've smoked before. Not just one, because I want it to be an honest review about the brand itself. For anyone out there watching who wants to try them, or anyone who's tried them and wants to hear what I have to say, I gotta be fair, that's the only reason. If all the cigars were like this one right here, it'd be an 8 or 9, but sadly they're not. So yeah, 6 out of 10. It's kind of sad. I hate to have to give them that rating, but they've gone downhill, sadly. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, because I went through hell to record this, having to record it twice, and then also having it stop, halfway through the first review and not noticing it, and then having to re-record that part. It's been hell. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I'll cut your fucking nuts off, mate. I swear I'll cut your fucking nuts off, mate. I won't do that, really. Yeah, it's worth it. If I didn't like doing it, it's not like I'm making money. I wouldn't be doing this in the first place if I didn't love doing it. So, yeah, I'm kidding. That was a little Joe Pesci that came out of me there, huh? But anyways, thanks for watching. New videos coming soon. Take care. Oh, I just dropped it right at the end. Fuck. I also forgot I have 3 friends that wanted shout-outs, so I better do that now so they don't get pissed at me, because I've been putting off for a month or 2 or 3. Shout out to Hobbs Productions, Jake Northrup, and Jacob Hudson. There you go. Sorry that it took so long, but I finally did it. Right? Don't give me shit!